Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now March 13th of 2021, and ever since the very end of The Mandalorian Season 2 and the Gina Carano firing situation, a lot of fans have been very skeptical and very much confused as to exactly where Star Wars is going by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that we do know about Disney Star Wars is that yes, they are working on TV shows like Andor, Kenobi, and more that's going to really dive deep into the Star Wars lore, as well as the Ahsoka Tano TV show, which by the way is still on, route to release in 2022 or 23. Now, with that being said, we do know that a lot of changes have been being done behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm by Jon Favreau. This is a guy that is dedicating his entire life to making Star Wars as best as possible and trying to really bring Star Wars back to the way that it used to be in 2011, 2010, before Disney took over Lucasfilm. Now, with that being said, we also know that Dave Filoni is also working very hard on the Ahsoka Tano TV series. He's actually doing everything in his power to really diving deeper into the Star Wars lore that so many fans love and enjoy, and how that's going to be applied to this new EU. Now, Kathleen Kennedy, however, we do know that she's going to lose her creative control over the Acolyte series this June, but in the meantime, she is still working on the Acolyte TV series with Leslye Headland, doing a lot of work on that show. They're still trying to get this thing released by 2022. There's been a lot of setbacks on and off countless times, which really leaves me to doubt that it's even going to release in 22, to be honest with you guys. So, with that being said, when we actually dive deeper into this entire situation, what's really intriguing is that now that Disney and Lucasfilm are primarily focused on their new Star Wars projects, such as Kenobi, Andor, and Ahsoka, they are also fully invested in working with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni to make Star Wars as best as possible. Now, it's described, however, that behind the scenes, Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy has been making major changes to a specific Star Wars project that she is working on a creative scale until June, where she will only operate on a business scale. It's noted that just recently Kathleen Kennedy fired yet another Star Wars director from the Acolyte series by Leslye Headland. That was a director handling the last 2 episodes of the Acolyte TV show, and how he was working with Leslye, and how he did not agree with Kathleen Kennedy's agenda getting pushed into the series. Now, Kennedy had major creative differences with this director, who had previously worked on other TV shows in the past that were more unknown. It's unclear as to who the director was, but that Kathleen Kennedy fired this director around 1 week ago, and not agreeing to use the geode character in the storyline at the very end of the TV series. Now, let me stop right here for a second. You guys may very well be confused. Who is Geode? Geode is this new character that Kathleen Kennedy, yes, actually pushed to be created in the High Republic era. Let's just make things simple. It's a rock. It's a literal rock that communicates with Force users. That's pretty much the basis of it. I don't want to dive too deep into it, but that's the character of Geode. Now, apart from this, it's described that Kennedy is actually pushing the Geode character into the Acolyte series in live-action form, and that this director believed it was a terrible mess of an idea to create a character that is nothing more than a stagnant rock or boulder, and believes it was going to create more backlash against the show, given that this director realized many fans disliked the character heavily. This was said to be the main reason as to why Kennedy fired the Star Wars director and is replacing him with a director that will agree to direct an entire episode surrounding Geode, along with the other heroes in store. Alright, so here's the thing about this. Let me just stop right here for a second. Now, the Geode character, alright, I know that, a lot of fans dislike this character as much as I do. And I'm sure that a lot of casual fans even disagree with the overall design of this character. At the very minimum, if Kathleen Kennedy or anybody who's in charge of the character, if they wanted to do things at the very minimum, in which I still believe it would have been a bad idea, they could have just made this a humanoid-esque figure made out of rock, kind of like The Thing. We're talking about The Thing from the Fantastic Four. They could have done something at minimum, something more like that. They couldn't even think of something like that. They just had to make it a literal rock. Just a rock, literally. There's no facial expression. It's a genderless character, by the way, so that kind of fits Kathleen Kennedy's agenda there, pushing that forward. This director did not agree and did not want to be the one responsible for being a specific Star Wars director, getting a lot of backlash, directing an episode more dedicated to geode. And I understand that. I can totally understand as to why a director would not agree with this. Imagine you're a director that's kind of more in line with unknown TV shows, getting this opportunity to work on Star Wars, and you're working on 2 episodes that are more geared toward the very end of the show that's going to be surrounding the character of Geode. I mean, really, think about that for a second. You're directing a couple of episodes that's surrounding a rock. I just can't begin to even grasp the idea of how one would even handle that. You know, getting hired for a job as a director to handle an episode or 2 that's going to be mostly about Geode. Now, you guys may very well be unaware about what in the world Geode really is. This is a character that's going to appear more so in the earlier days of the High Republic. The Acolyte TV series, by the way, takes place during the very end of the High Republic, which, if you guys know the lore, the very end of this era takes place roughly 50 years before the Phantom Menace. 50 to 70 years to be exact. So, the Acolyte series is going to be about the rise of dark side powers, and also the rise of new secrets about the Force that's going to be learned about. Now, Leslye, Headland, Kathleen Kennedy, they have also fallen into creative differences before in the past, we all know this, but this is on a different scale. The fact that Kathleen Kennedy fired somebody because they didn't want to direct an episode or 2 surrounding Geode, of all characters, you know, at the very minimum, Kathleen Kennedy could have convinced Leslye Headland to write the character out, keep this director in, but that's not Kathleen Kennedy's style. Not a big surprise there at all. The other thing is that we also know that, given that this show is attached to actress Brie Larson and Ruby Rose and other, other actresses coming on board to portray new characters, obviously, this is going to be a show that is going to be Batwoman 2.0. I'm almost guaranteeing it. Look at how many fans out there dislike the High Republic era. Let's not forget and make no mistake, the Acolyte TV series, it is the High Republic era. Let's not forget about this. It's just the very end of that era, so it may feel or look a little bit different than what we're getting in those books and comics, but it's still the High Republic timeline. It's going to be a show that kind of shows us pretty much the conclusion to that era, which never really made much sense to me because I feel like that what they're doing is that they're just using the books and the comics to set up the earlier days, and then live action form, it's going to pretty much conclude that overall timeline. It seems like that they're really rushing through this timeline, or this era, if you will, like no tomorrow. So, like I've said before, Kathleen Kennedy, she doesn't know what she's doing. Once again, this is a person that has said before in the past that there's no source material before when Disney took over Lucasfilm. That's what she believes. In fact, I don't even believe that that's what she believes. I believe that she knows that there is source material. She's just saying that. So, like I said before in the past, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.